Hey there, happy Saturday. West Dove here with Dove Development and Consulting, and I wanted to give you another snapshot of what you can expect from what's killing your profitability. It all boils down to leadership. So one of the chapters, it's called The Cost of Confusion, but really digs into what missing and failing to meet expectations really costs our companies. And so what I want to do today is really dig into what happens when we don't meet expectations, but what are we really leaving on the table when our teams aren't working to exceed expectations? So in this chapter, I'm going to share a slide with you here, and you'll see a couple different things. In the chapter, I have a quote I pulled from an article from a fellow named Tony Giri, I believe his name was, and it's from zenbusiness.com. It was called Exceeding Expectations, the Key to Value. And it says this, it says, it's rare for anybody to exceed expectations unless they do it on purpose. To exceed expectations on purpose means that you have to have an understanding of expected performance, and you realize that expected performance is in no way extraordinary. It becomes tougher when you realize that exceeding expectations requires more effort to surpass what might be described as acceptable performance. Acceptable performance, he says, is in fact mediocrity, and mediocrity is usually the norm. The problem is it's hard to sell mediocrity. Now, I want you to picture this. In how many organizations do you see people really rally around the idea of, gosh, I want to haul off and be average. I want to be mediocre. I want to just get by. Unfortunately, it happens too often, but it's not because people are rallying around it. It's because that's what happens. People expect it. So, what I've seen in far too many scenarios is a leader doesn't set a high expectation. They don't make sure those clear expectations are set, and they don't hold it high because they don't want to push people too hard. They don't want to risk somebody getting upset or aggravated or maybe leaving the organization altogether. And the challenge with that becomes no great team member really jumps in and performs at their best when average is the expectation. And my goodness, it's in so many cases I've seen good people when average is the norm, and people get away with not even exceeding or not even meeting expectations. I see high performers look for somewhere else. They want to be around people that win. They want to be around people that do their best. I remember being in a room with John Maxwell, and I've got the stats on the slide that you see on the screen. I remember being in a room about 9 years ago. It was a small group. At that point in time, it was the smallest group I'd ever been with John. It was probably 200 or 300 people. And he shared with us, we were getting licensed. We were going through the process to get licensed to use John's work to kind of work under the Maxwell Leadership brand, or what it was known as then, and so on. And he says, folks, I need you, if you're going to go out in your communities, if you're going to go across the country, around the world, wherever you're working, if you're going to carry my name and you're going to say, hey, I represent John Maxwell, I really need you to work to exceed expectations. And he shared these stats. He says, gosh, 80% of the population never meet what's expected of them. They fall short of what's expected of them. He said only about 15% of the population will ever meet expectations. But gosh, there's only 5% of the world as we know it that will do what's necessary, do the extra to really exceed expectations. Now, that was in, I don't know, summer of 2015. And I'm going to say that I think it's dropped drastically, the number of folks that exceed expectations. I'm quite certain the number of folks that meet expectations are lower than 15% at this point. And unfortunately, that means the ones that fall short of expectations, what's expected of them, are far more than 80% at this point. I don't have anything to back it, but gosh, my guess is if you're interacting with folks in society, you see it over and over and over. And here's what I'll say to you. If we have a team that regularly works to meet and exceed expectations, it doesn't take much extra. It takes a little bit extra. But when we can do that on a routine basis, and we can work to exceed what's expected of us by asking, hey, what is expected of us? If we can clarify that and understand that with specificity and know what somebody expects, and we can do that little extra, it's going to stand out over and over and over. And the way that captures that profitability that's usually killed when we're not exceeding expectations is, my goodness, if just getting by keeps us afloat, just think of how much we're leaving on the table when we don't do that little bit extra. Just think of how much we're leaving on the table if we don't take the time to make those extra steps to really understand clearly what our team members, what our clients, our customers expect of us, and we don't do that extra to really overachieve and perform and make it so they say, "Hey, gosh, I love doing business with these folks. I love being a part of this team. I'll give it everything I've got." And that extra is what makes all the difference when we can work to exceed expectations. Now, as I shared this, we're less than 72 hours away from National Leadership Day and the release of What's Killing Your Profitability. Now, you see the ticker going across the slide. In the Harrisonburg area, we're doing a book launch event over lunch at Honey Baked Ham. If you've already registered, you should have received an email from me saying, "Hey, what do you want for lunch?" so we can have things ready for you when you get there. If you've not registered, if you've not gone through the website, the link on the page and the one that's in the comments, you didn't get that email because that's the list I'm working from. But if you want to register in advance so that your check-in is sped up, we've got name tags for you, we'll have signed books ready and so on, and your lunch will be ready. You don't have to wait in line, or at least streamline that process. Go ahead and do the $25 registration. The other thing I'll say is just a few days left to access the ebook. To get the ebook, you'll have access to it forever at just 99 cents, and we're going to move that to $9.99. That will be the regular price of it forever. After it launches. So it's probably 3-4 days left to snag it at 99 cents. And gosh, that helps with the Amazon analytics and some of the algorithms and so on, and some of the things that it's already achieved, but it helps keep it in that top new release category and some of the different stuff there. So gosh, we look forward to seeing you. I hope you're capturing some of the ideas around what's killing your profitability and how these different aspects that so many times people look at, gosh, it's not really hitting the bottom line. It's intangible. It's touchy-feely. I don't see how we get it. When we lead well, it impacts our profitability. It impacts our whole organization, and that impacts the people that we can serve on a higher level. We look forward to seeing you soon. I hope this helps. Have a great day, and God bless.